Hello.
Hello. That's what I do. Yes.
Well, I'm so happy that you're able to join and participate in the podcast.
I'm so happy to be able to participate as well. And I'm so happy that I now get to be a guest on your podcast.
So, Laura Andert, born with cerebral palsy, is a disability consultant and benefits coach who is training to become a work incentive practitioner in her hometown of St. Paul, Minnesota. As an advocate for herself and for others, Laura's goal is to help other individuals with disabilities navigate their resources, recognize their worth, and discover their unique abilities. And this is me quoting Laura saying, "When I set out to do something, I am blocked from it. I don't just walk away. I will knock down walls to make it happen. I don't give up until I give it my all." And having read a little bit about your story, Laura, you do have so much grit. And someone
Thank you.
once
Thank you.
yeah, and someone once in high school labeled me as Moxie. And as I was reading your blog post, I was like, Laura's like the definition of Moxie for sure.
Oh, yes. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for thinking that of me. Yes.
Okay, so to kick off, could you share just a little bit more about yourself and your disability, and then how does your disability impact your day-to-day life?
Okay. Yes. I'd be honored to. So I was born with cerebral palsy,
Mm.
as you read in my bio, and I am able-bodied. Um, so I'm not in a wheelchair or I don't need any walking devices. My mobility is slow, can be slow. Um, I'm able to communicate really well. When it comes to writing, and wait, let me back up. Okay, so the definition of cerebral palsy, because many don't really know what the true definition is. And if you know, great, but some don't. So, the true definition is lack of oxygen to the brain. So, when I was born prematurely and I couldn't breathe when I was born. So, I needed to be hooked up to oxygen to get that oxygen back my brain. So as a result, um, I have cerebral palsy, and as I grew up, I wasn't learning to crawl at, or I mean, I wasn't learning to walk at the time a baby learns to walk, to become a toddler to walk. And I needed physical therapy with my mobility, and my I needed speech therapy as well. Um and so as an adult now, yes, cerebral palsy still affects me each and every day. Um you know, it really helps me. The more I exercise, the more I move my body, it helps my muscles because my muscles are stiff. And the only way that can really help my muscles not be stiff is exercise however I can, stretch however I can. Um, I like to take walks. I like to power walk as an exercise. But I have to be careful, you know, um, because, when I want to go fast, I don't want to lose my breath. So, and when it comes to writing, physically handwriting, I can't write illegible letters. It's I have difficulty writing. I use the computer a lot. I use it for work. I'm able to peck, not type, but that's okay. That's okay. I love how technology has grown to adapt to my disability and my challenges. Um, and I hope that answers our question. I kind of went all over the place, you know.
No, you're all good. Thank God for computers and typing,
Yes.
right? Even for
Yes.
those of so what are some more and also exercising thing too. I have so my disability is polio and scoliosis, and I do use a manual wheelchair. And so I was thinking as you were talking about like speed walking and
Yes.
exercising and moderating that, it's true for people with polio as well. They can't like
Mhm.
overly exert.
Yeah.
Um, like exercise in moderation is good, but then it's like
Yes.
it's a little vague in terms of what does in moderation mean exactly. So that's for the individual person, me in this case, to decide. And so that's why I think it would be really great if there's someone out there who, and I know there are some people out there who specialize in adaptive uh, training, being a personal trainer or exercise uh,
Yep.
trainer. So, what are some
Absolutely.
more peculiar reactions people have had to your disabilities, and how have you been able to how have you handled it basically?
So I love this question, Ming, because sometimes, no, not sometimes, that just popped into my head. A lot of times when I say I have the cerebral palsy, um, and for example, and I cannot drive. If they ask me, what kind of car do you drive? Well, I can't drive. So I go, I have the cerebral palsy, I can't drive. And as a result, I can't drive. And a lot of times I get reactions like, you don't look like you have cerebral palsy. You don't look like you have anything wrong with you. And getting into the disability inclusion space, I have grown to dislike that reaction because it doesn't matter what our disability is, what our limitations are, what we can or can't do. Nothing is wrong with us. We have a limitation or limitations. And um, so I have received many reactions like that. Um, and I respond back by saying, well, I was born with it, and I'm thinking to myself, why would I make this up? But um, and other times I've um I've received reactions of like, "Oh, Laura, I noticed as you were walking, you walk a little slower or you shake." Because I also shake, so sometimes or my muscles tremble. And I go, "Yeah, that's as a result of cerebral palsy. Yeah, yep." And it's like I make the best of the interaction, but sometimes people will not be nice, and I just gotta hold my head high and just, keep on going, like walk away or just say, okay, well, great talking to you. I'm gonna go now, but overall, Ming, I've gotten mixed reactions, whether positive, negative, or in between,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
so
It seems like you've handled it well. Basically lots of patience and lots of educating, right? As
yes, exactly. Yep.
as I've encountered as well. And and you're such a great self advocate too. I could just read it through your writing and just how you communicate. So, what are some of your greatest lessons you've learned from self-advocating that you would tell your 9-year-old self? So, if you could go back in time to spare her some of the heartaches and pain that you've gone through over the years, what are some of those lessons that you've learned as a self-advocate?
Wow, another great question, Ming. Oh, I love it. I love diving right in and answering these really fabulous questions. So kudos to you for having this wonderful podcast and asking these questions to different advocates. Um, so what I would say to my 9-year-old self, if I could go back in time as a self advocate, I would say you're gonna be okay. You're gonna make it. And I'm not saying, I mean, I had a thought in my head. I'm not saying like you're gonna make it, not saying you wouldn't make it, as in, or I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but um, I just want to say so many things at once. I'm just like,
Mm.
wait, how do I say it? Um, yes, you're going to make it. Everything will be okay. Just keep on going. Hold your head high and keep on going. And, keep on doing things that you think is right for you, like advocating for or speaking up for yourself. Um, and keep on pushing through because it's only going to make you stronger and more empowered. And I have in elementary, no, not elementary school, in high school, I was bullied because of my disability, unfortunately. Um, and I love it because this is the first conversation I've had in a really long time in admitting that. And because I didn't realize at the time I was being bullied, but I was, but um yeah, I would say it to my 9-year-old self, being bullied, if I was getting bullied at that age or later, just say, you know what? I can't help it. I have limitations that's making me do this or whatever. You're getting a hard time. Whatever is giving you a hard time, or whatever, like if words are giving you a hard time, or yeah, it would be words, coming from the other person. But just say, you know what? I'm Yeah, I can't help it. This is who I am. This is part of me. And just walk away. Yep, be the bigger person and walk away. So,
Yeah, sometimes
yes.
it's so hard being that bigger person, right? And what's that Michelle Obama quote that everyone's quoting? When they go low, you go high.
Yes.
Um,
Yep.
but to like live it sometimes is so difficult.
Yes.
And I know I had an instance of being bullied in middle school, and this girl was basically saying that she was gonna push me down a flight of stairs. And my dad worked at that middle school, unfortunately for her. And he made like a huge deal out of it. I was like trying to brush it off and saying it
Yep.
wasn't a big deal.
Yep.
And my dad, you know, thinking back, it is kind of a big deal. And so for you, is there was there someone that like stood up for you, you felt like at that time with your instance of bullying, and what exactly happened?
Um, I finally confessed to my parents what was going on. I was embarrassed. I have no idea why, because there's nothing to be ashamed of. It's on the other person, really. I mean, that's a different story if, but it's not your fault, or it wasn't my fault. And my mom actually called the school. I finally confessed to like my friends, two of my good friends, what was going on. Because we didn't have the same lunch and it was happening during the lunch period. And they were like, Laura, why don't you tell us? I'm like, because I'm embarrassed and this doesn't happen to everyone. I wanted to keep it on the down low. But again, who I am now, Ming, and I think you can say that. I think you can say this now too, if you agree with me, which I think you will. Like, yeah, just, just walk away or just, just say, you know what? I can't help it. I'm sorry. Or don't, not, I'm sorry. Um, you know, I just can't help it and walk away, you know? Um, oh yeah, I think I wanted to say, I'm sorry that you're bullying me, or I'm sorry you're picking on me, but that doesn't really make sense. But you get the general idea here. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's so important to share our stories from just everything. I was listening to an audiobook by Anne Lamott. I don't know if you know the author.
Yes,
I
I
I lo-
do.
yeah, I love her writing. Um, but basically, she shared in one of the books I was listening today that she's basically describing very well the grueling process of writing. And I've been trying to write a book so many times now. I've picked it
Mhm.
up and dropped it and picked it up and
Yes.
dropped it and picked it up and dropped it. And um and how it relates to you is that you've said it a few times now, the experience of being bullied and how embarrassed and ashamed you felt. And the thing is, a lot of people get bullied whether they have a disability or not, and they think they're the only ones, and so they internalize that something is deeply wrong with them, even though that's really not the case at all. And so I think with all of us sharing our experiences of being bullied and getting it out there, I think people feel less alone. And for those of us with disabilities, especially visible disabilities, yes, maybe some of our like weaknesses are more appearance and invisible, but everybody has flaws and everybody has weaknesses, and
Mhm.
they're just able to hide it for a little bit longer, but not forever. And so I think that's why it's so important and so powerful when someone is willing to share their story for the benefit of another. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for sharing.
Um,
So I want to move on
yeah.
to, did you have a
Yep.
thought that you want to share before we move on to the next question?
Oh, I just was gonna say, the more we're vulnerable, yeah, it only makes us stronger and it only leads our, vulnerability to other people to hear
Mhm.
because other people may be going through the same thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's exactly what you're saying, right? Along those lines. Yep.
yeah. It could be something as light as writing or as serious as, as anything, but also what you just shared about, having cerebral palsy and people making fun of you for the various manifestations of having cerebral palsy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
So we're
Yes.
taking a little bit of a transition onto your career path, right? So can you share with us what a benefits coach does and what is the main purpose of this role?
Yes. Good question. Another great question because a lot of people outside of the disability space, they're like, what on earth is a benefits coach? You know, like you are being a life coach, oh, I know what a life coach is, but a benefits coach, a lot of people are like, what is a benefits coach? So, yes, I am here to clarify that. Yes, because you said I was a benefits coach in my bio. So, a benefits coach is, well, actually, I want to tell you what I do in my role. Also, being a benefits coach, but also being a disability consultant. And I want to share with you what our company does for people with disabilities, if you don't mind that. So, I work for a company called Inclusive Networking here in Minnesota. And we help make companies more inclusive with hiring people with disabilities, or inclusive, not even more, because people want to become inclusive and hire people with disabilities, but they don't know how, or they don't know how to go about it. So that's where we step in. We help make companies more inclusive with hiring people with disabilities. We help make um certain roles in those companies. Um we we customize certain roles within those companies based on a person with a disability, based on their strengths and talents. We customize the job position for them. We carve out the role for them. So it's not just a traditional job they're doing. And um we also put on trainings for other employers to learn how to hire people with disabilities. We put on presentations, webinars. We also uh, help job seekers, other outside candidates looking for a job within a company, and we carve out those positions for them within those companies. And then, so I am a disability consultant slash benefits coach. So I help my team, my fabulous team, amazing team, um, to reach out to companies, um, and find out who the HR go-to person is for hiring, the hiring manager, and I find out all about the company, and I make connections, and then outside of that, I am a certified benefits coach. So what that means, Ming and others, um, is I help individuals on Social Security benefits. So I help navigate that process of like what all there is to do within earning Social Security benefits or collecting Social Security benefits. It can be a very gruesome, complex process. And with this certification, I'm able to help people overcome their challenges when it comes to reporting into Social Security. Um, and then I'm also um getting a certification from Cornell University of it's called um my credentialing is called work incentive practitioner, and basically it's a benefits coach but working with individuals with more complex cases. So if individuals have an overpayment with Social Security and they don't know how to overcome it or pay back into Social Security, I can help them overcome that payment, as in like lower the payment or waive the payment and prove to Social Security, oh, this person does is not overpaid or wasn't overpaid, blah blah blah. So yeah, I'm super excited for that certification to be able to help other people on Social Security benefits, because it's very complex and I love every minute of my training, and I'm excited to dive right into receive clients with complex cases, and I can teach them what to do. So, yes, thank you for listening to that.
Yeah, of course, that's such important work. And so I know it's very complicated too with benefits. You can really get lost in the weeds of it all. But I want to, so we only have time for one more question.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
looks like we have less than 2 minutes to answer it. But I want to ask this because you made such a um, untraditional and I think courageous decision. So you decided that college was not the right path for you, and so you carved out, you chose this different path and was very bold about it and very proactive with working for Panera, with working for different workspaces that you've been in and that you've really thrived in. So how did you know that college was not right for you, and how do you feel about that decision today?
So it's funny because um I senior or no, it'd be junior year, I took the ACTs and I was like, I don't I don't I don't know what I'm doing. But I'm just gonna do it. Yeah. You know, um, and at that time, I didn't know if I was gonna go to college or not. Then, uh, yeah, that was going into junior year, and then, senior, or I mean, junior year, I toured colleges, and I was like, no, I had this gut feeling that it's not right for me. I had a great high school experience, but I really took a long time working on homework and everything, and it just wasn't me. And I knew it was up to me to persevere and speak up for myself in the work field, and that's what I've done
And
a
you still
lot.
feel good about that decision today?
Absolutely. Yes. I wouldn't change a thing.
Thank you so much for coming on to the Trips and Global on Wheels podcast, Laura Andert. Sorry, our call ended abruptly due to time constraints. It was such a pleasure hosting you. For viewers and listeners, I hope this episode was valuable to you in some way, shape, or form. If you find any of my episodes useful, chances are others will too. So please share with one person who you think may enjoy or benefit from the episode. Thank you so much, and talk to you again next Tuesday.